The fist connected with her jaw before Lauren even saw it coming. Rain mixed with blood as she hit the pavement, her vision blurring. "This is for Moretti," one of them hissed, kicking her ribs hard enough to steal her breath. She tried to curl into herself, tried to protect her face, but there were two of them, and only one of her. The Moretti household uniform, cream and gold expensive fabric, was now torn and stained red. "Tell your boss we're coming for him next." Another kick. Another. The alley spun, going dark at the edges. Before we continue with Lauren's story, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and stick with me until the end. Drop a comment telling me what city you are watching from so I can see how far this story travels. Now let's get back to that rainy night that changed everything. Lauren's eyes opened to gray morning light filtering through her bedroom window. Every breath felt like knives in her ribs. She lay there for a moment, staring at the water-stained ceiling of her Bronx apartment, trying to convince herself last night had been a nightmare. It hadn't been. Her entire body was a map of pain. Her jaw throbbed where the first punch had landed. Her ribs screamed with each shallow breath. When she finally dragged herself to the bathroom mirror, the woman staring back was almost unrecognizable. Purple bruises bloomed across her left cheek. Her bottom lip was split and swollen. A cut above her eyebrow had crusted over with dried blood. "Lauren," her sister Brittany's voice came through the thin door. "You okay in there?" "Fine." Lauren croaked, then winced at how her voice cracked. "Just getting ready for work." "Work? Are you crazy? You sound like..." "I'm fine, Britt. Go back to bed." Silence. Then footsteps retreating down the hallway. Lauren gripped the edge of the sink, her knuckles white. She couldn't afford to miss work. Not with Mom's medical bills stacking up. Not with Brittany's college tuition due next month. Not with the electricity bill 2 weeks overdue. She had exactly $47 in her checking account, so she covered what she could with makeup, though the bruises were too dark, too fresh to hide completely. She pulled her hair forward to frame her face. She buttoned her uniform coat higher than usual, hiding the bruises that ringed her collarbone like a necklace of violence. The subway ride into Manhattan was torture. Every bump and jostle sent fresh waves of pain through her ribs. A businessman offered her his seat, his eyes lingering on her face with poorly concealed pity. Lauren took the seat without meeting his gaze. She'd spent 3 years being invisible, being overlooked, being the help. Last night someone had finally seen her, and they'd beaten her for it. The Moretti mansion rose above Fifth Avenue like a monument to old money and older sins. Lauren had worked there for 3 years and still felt her breath catch every time she saw it. 15,000 square feet of limestone and marble with windows that caught the morning sun and threw it back like armor. She entered through the service entrance as always. Down the narrow hallway that staff used away from the grand foyer where Giovanni Moretti's guests entered. The kitchen was already busy, Maria at the stove, Carlos polishing silver, young Tommy hauling supplies from the delivery truck. Maria looked up first. Her wooden spoon clattered to the floor. "Madre de Dios," she breathed. "Lauren, what happened to your face?" "I'm fine." "You're not fine. You look like..." "I said I'm fine." Lauren's voice came out sharper than intended. "Where do you need me today?" Maria's mouth tightened, but she knew better than to push. They all did. Everyone who worked in the Moretti household understood that questions could be dangerous. Curiosity could get you fired. Or worse. "Third floor," Maria said quietly. "Mr. Moretti's private study. He wants a deep clean today." Lauren's stomach dropped. Giovanni Moretti's study. The inner sanctum. She'd been in there exactly twice in 3 years, both times to deliver urgent messages when his regular assistant was away. "Why me?" Maria shrugged. "He asked for you specifically this morning. Said something about the books needing proper attention." That didn't make sense. Giovanni Moretti didn't know her name. She was sure of it. She was just the girl who folded his towels and arranged his flowers and made sure his bathroom always smelled like sandalwood and cedar. But she took the cleaning supplies and headed upstairs anyway. Because that's what you did when a man like Giovanni Moretti gave an order. You obeyed. The third floor was quiet. Too quiet. Lauren's footsteps seemed impossibly loud on the marble floors, even though she'd learned years ago how to move through this house like a ghost. The study door stood open, and for a moment she hesitated. Then she heard his voice. "Come in, Lauren." Her hands tightened on the cleaning caddy. He knew her name. When had that changed? She stepped into the study, keeping her eyes down as she'd been trained. The room was all dark wood and leather floor-to-ceiling bookshelves stuffed with volumes that probably cost more than her annual salary. A massive desk dominated the space, and behind it sat Giovanni Moretti himself. He was younger than most people expected, only 38, though he carried himself with the authority of someone twice that age. Dark hair, darker eyes, a face that belonged on Roman coins. He wore his power like other men wore cologne, subtle but unmistakable. "Mr. Moretti," Lauren murmured. "Maria said you wanted the study cleaned." "Look at me." It wasn't a request. Lauren lifted her eyes slowly, met his gaze. Watched something flicker across his face, something that might have been anger, might have been something else entirely. He stood, walked around the desk with measured steps, stopped 3 feet away from her, close enough that she could smell his cologne. Something expensive and subtle, cedar and smoke. "Who did this to you?" The question hung in the air between them. Lauren's pulse hammered in her throat. "I don't know what you—" "Don't." His voice went cold. "Don't lie to me. Who did this?" She'd heard stories about Giovanni Moretti. Everyone had. They said he'd killed his first man at 17. They said he controlled half the city's waterfront. They said he had judges and politicians and police captains in his pocket. They said a lot of things. Looking at him now, Lauren believed every single one. "It was nothing," she whispered. "Just a mugging. Wrong place, wrong time." "You're lying." "Mr. Moretti, I really don't think—" "They recognized your uniform. It wasn't a question. They knew you worked for me." Lauren's breath stopped. How did he know that? Had someone seen? Had he been watching her? The thought should have terrified her. Instead, it sent something else entirely down her spine. "They gave you a message," Giovanni continued, his voice dropping lower. "Didn't they? Something about me." She didn't answer. Couldn't answer. Her ribs chose that moment to send a sharp spike of pain through her chest, and she gasped before she could stop herself. Giovanni's hand shot out, steadying her elbow. His touch was surprisingly gentle. "Sit down. I need to clean." "Sit down." She sat. The leather chair was butter-soft, probably worth more than everything in her apartment combined. Giovanni returned to his desk, but he didn't sit. He stood there, one hand braced on the polished wood, his jaw tight. "Tell me exactly what happened." So she did. She told him about walking to the subway after her shift, about the 2 men who'd followed her into the alley, about the first punch that came out of nowhere, about the message they'd made sure she understood. "This is for Moretti." When she finished, the silence in the study was absolute. Giovanni hadn't moved, but something about him had changed. The temperature in the room seemed to have dropped 10 degrees. "Can you describe them?" "I don't remember much. It was dark, and Try." Lauren closed her eyes, forcing herself back to that alley. Rain and pain and terror, but yes, there were details. One of them had a tattoo on his neck, some kind of bird maybe, and the other one he had a scar, right here. She touched her own cheek, indicating the path, from his ear to his mouth. Giovanni pulled out his phone, typed something. Within 30 seconds, it buzzed with a response. He looked at the screen and his expression went completely flat. That's when Lauren knew someone was going to die. "What's your mother's condition?" The question came out of nowhere. Lauren blinked. "What?" "Your mother. Maria mentioned she's been sick." "What is it?" Kidney disease. Stage 4. She's on dialysis 3 times a week and the insurance doesn't cover." She stopped. "Why are you asking me this?" Giovanni ignored the question. "And your sister Brittany, isn't it? She's in college." Fear spiked through Lauren's chest. "How do you know about Brittany?" "I know about everyone who works in my house." He said it matter-of-factly, as if having detailed files on his employees was perfectly normal. "Your sister is at Columbia, pre-med, full scholarship that covers tuition, but not housing or books." "Mr. Moretti, you work 50-hour weeks here. Then you do overnight shifts at the hospital on weekends. You've been doing that for 2 years. He finally looked up from his phone. "That's how they knew where to find you. You walk the same route every night, same time, same streets." The casual way he recited her life back to her should have been creepy, should have made her want to run. Instead, all Lauren felt was a strange, uncomfortable heat in her chest. He'd been watching her, noticing her, seeing her when everyone else looked through her like glass. "I can take care of myself," she said quietly, clearly. His eyes dropped to the bruises on her face and his mouth tightened. You'll stay here tonight. Guest room, third floor. I'll have Maria bring you something to eat. I can't. Your sister will be fine. I'll have someone check on her. He pulled out his phone again, typed rapidly. There, done. She'll have a security detail until this is resolved. A security detail, Mr. Moretti? This is insane. You're not just anything. The words came out hard, almost angry. Not anymore. They made sure of that when they put their hands on you. Lauren stood up, ignoring the way her ribs protested. I appreciate your concern, but I don't need your protection. I'll be more careful. I'll take different routes home. Do you know what they were doing? Giovanni cut her off. Those men who hurt you. She shook her head. They were testing me, seeing if I'd notice, seeing if I'd care, seeing if I've gone soft. He walked to the window, looked out over Fifth Avenue. They picked you because you're invisible, because you're just the help, because they thought I wouldn't give a damn if some maid got roughed up on her way home. He turned back to face her, and the look in his eyes made her breath catch. They were wrong. The intercom on his desk buzzed. Giovanni pressed a button. Sir, a male voice said, they're here. Bring them to the basement. I'll be down in 10 minutes. Lauren's blood went cold. What does that mean? Who's here? The men who hurt you. Giovanni said it like he was discussing the weather. My people found them 2 hours ago. You can't what? He tilted his head slightly. Can't protect what's mine. Can't send a message to everyone in this city that there are consequences for touching my people. I'm not yours. The words came out before she could stop them. Giovanni went very still. No. He crossed the room in 3 strides, stopping close enough that she had to tilt her head back to meet his eyes. Then why have I been watching you for the past 6 months? Why do I know that you fold the towels in thirds because anything else feels wrong? Why do I know you rearrange my books by color when you think I'm not looking? Why do I know you hate roses but love peonies, and that you always put them in the vase on the left because the light hits better there? Lauren's heart was trying to beat its way out of her chest. You see me, she whispered. I see you. His hand came up, finger stopping just short of touching her bruised cheek. I've seen you since the day you started working here. You think I asked for staff by name? You think I notice how the goddamn books are arranged? Then why? Because you deserve to be invisible if that's what you wanted. Because you worked hard and kept your head down, and I respected that. Because I told myself that noticing you was one thing, but acting on it would make me the kind of man I swore I'd never become. His jaw clenched. But they took that choice away from both of us the second they put their hands on you. The room felt too small suddenly, too warm. Lauren couldn't breathe, and it had nothing to do with her cracked ribs. What are you going to do to them? She asked. What do you think I'm going to do? She should have been horrified, should have been running for the door, should have been calling the police. Instead, she heard herself say, I want to watch. Giovanni's eyebrows rose slightly. No, you don't. Yes. She was surprised by the steel in her own voice. I do. They hurt me. They used me to send you a message. If this is about me, then I deserve to see it. For a long moment, he just looked at her. Then slowly he smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. All right, Lauren, come with me. The basement of the Moretti mansion was nothing like the rest of the house. No marble, no artwork, no expensive rugs, just concrete and fluorescent lights and a drain in the center of the floor that Lauren tried very hard not to think about. The 2 men from the alley were there, tied to chairs. Both of them looked terrified when Giovanni walked in, and that terror multiplied when they saw Lauren behind him. No, the one with the neck tattoo stammered. No, we didn't know. We were just supposed to scare her. That's all, just rough her up a little. Who gave the order? Giovanni's voice was casual, conversational. The scarred one spat blood onto the concrete. Go to hell, Moretti. Giovanni sighed, pulled off his suit jacket, handed it to one of his men, started rolling up his shirt sleeves with methodical precision. I'm going to ask you one more time, he said. Who gave the order? You think we're scared of you? Scarface sneered. You're finished in this city. Everyone knows it. You've gone soft. Can't even protect your own. The punch came so fast, Lauren almost missed it. Giovanni's fist connected with the man's jaw with a sound like a gunshot. Blood sprayed. Teeth scattered across the concrete. Scarface's head lolled forward unconscious. Giovanni turned to the tattooed one. Let's try this again. Who sent you, Banshee? Russo, the man gasped. Sal Russo. He said you'd lost your edge. He said hurting your people would prove it. Please, we were just following orders. You didn't mean to beat a woman half to death in an alley. Giovanni's voice went very quiet. You didn't mean to break her ribs. You didn't mean to split her lip and bruise her face and make her afraid to walk home at night. We're sorry. Tell her. Giovanni stepped aside, gesturing to Lauren. Tell her you're sorry. The tattooed man's eyes met Lauren's, and she saw her own fear reflected back at her. I'm sorry, he whispered. God, I'm so sorry, please. Lauren! Giovanni's voice cut through the basement like a knife. What do you want me to do with them? The question hung in the air. Every person in that room was looking at her now, waiting. The tattooed man was crying, tears and snot running down his face. Scarface was still unconscious, blood pooling under his chair. She thought about the alley, the rain, the pain, the fear. She thought about walking home every night for the past 3 years, always looking over her shoulder, always afraid. She thought about being invisible, about being used, about being a message. Make sure they never touch anyone again, she said. Giovanni smiled. As you wish. Lauren turned and walked back upstairs. She didn't stay to watch. Didn't need to. She heard the screaming start before she reached the first floor. She should have felt sick, should have felt guilty, should have felt something other than this strange, terrible satisfaction burning in her chest. But she didn't. Maria was waiting in the kitchen, her face pale. You shouldn't have gone down there. Probably not. Mr. Moretti, he's not like other men. Once you're in his world, once he decides you matter. Maria shook her head. You can't go back to being invisible, mija. You understand that, yes. Lauren touched her bruised face, feeling the tenderness there. Remembering Giovanni's words. I see you. I've seen you. I don't want to be invisible anymore, she said quietly. The screaming from the basement had stopped. Lauren didn't ask what that meant. She already knew. Giovanni found her an hour later in the third-floor guest room. She was sitting by the window watching the city lights come on as evening fell. He'd changed clothes, she noticed. The blood was gone. They'll live, he said, barely, and they'll carry the message back to Russo with them. What message? That touching you was a mistake they'll feel every day for the rest of their lives. He leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. That anyone who comes after what's mine will wish they'd never been born. There was that word again. Mine. Lauren should have objected, should have reminded him that she was her own person, that she didn't belong to anyone. But the words settled over her like a warm blanket, and she found she didn't mind it at all. Sal Russo, she said instead. Will he come after me again? No, Giovanni's voice held absolute certainty. By morning, Russo will be too busy trying to hold on to what's left of his territory to worry about sending messages. By next week, he'll be lucky if he's still breathing. Because of me. Because he challenged me. You were just the excuse. He pushed off the door frame, crossed the room to stand beside her at the window. But I need you to understand something, Lauren. This life, this world I live in, it's not clean. It's not safe. People who get close to me, people who matter to me, they become targets. Always. I'm already a target, she pointed out. At least now I have someone watching my back. He laughed at that short and sharp. Is that what you think this is, me watching your back? Isn't it? Instead of answering, he reached out and traced one finger along her jaw, carefully avoiding the bruises. His touch was gentle, reverent almost. You should rest, he said. We'll talk more in the morning. But he didn't leave, and Lauren didn't tell him to go. They stood there together as the city lit up below them, two people who'd spent years orbiting each other, finally in the same space, breathing the same air. And somewhere in the basement, two men were learning what it meant to make Giovanni Moretti notice you. Lauren thought about Brittany, safe at Columbia with security she didn't know she had. She thought about her mother, whose medical bills would never be a problem again. She was certain of that somehow. She thought about the past 3 years of being invisible and the strange new future unfolding in front of her. Giovanni, she said quietly, testing the weight of his name on her tongue. He turned to look at her, and there was something raw in his eyes, something that made her breath catch. Yes, thank you. For seeing me. His hand cupped her face thumb, brushing over her cheekbone with impossible gentleness. How could I not? He murmured. You're the only real thing in this whole goddamn city. Then he kissed her soft and careful, mindful of her split lip. It was nothing like the violence of the basement or the cold calculations she'd seen in his eyes when he'd looked at her attackers. This was something else entirely. When he pulled back, Lauren was shaking. "Get some rest," he said again. "Tomorrow we start changing some things around here." "What kind of things?" He smiled, and this time it reached his eyes. "For starters, you're not cleaning anymore. We're going to find you something better to do with that brain of yours." "I need the money." "You'll still get paid. More, actually. Consider it hazard pay for putting up with me." He headed for the door, then paused. "And Lauren, from now on you use the front entrance, not the service door." Then he was gone, leaving her alone in a room that probably cost more to furnish than she made in a year, in a mansion owned by a man who just brutalized two people in her name in a life that had fundamentally changed in the space of 24 hours. Lauren touched her lips where he'd kissed her. Outside, the city hummed with life and traffic and 1,000 stories playing out under the same stars. Somewhere out there, Sal Russo was getting a message that would change the balance of power in New York. Somewhere out there, two men were being dumped in front of a hospital with injuries that would never fully heal. Somewhere out there, Brittany was studying for midterms, completely unaware that her life had just gotten exponentially safer. And here in this room, Lauren was realizing that she'd made a choice. Maybe not consciously, maybe not with full understanding of what it would cost, but she'd chosen this, chosen him, chosen to stop being invisible. She thought she should be more afraid, thought she should be running, thought she should be calling someone, anyone, and telling them what Giovanni Moretti had done in that basement. Instead, she lay down on sheets that probably had a higher thread count than she could count, and she slept better than she had in 3 years. Because for the first time since she'd started working in the Moretti mansion, someone knew her name. Someone saw her. And God help her, but that felt like enough. Lauren woke to sunlight streaming through windows she didn't recognize. For a disorienting moment, she forgot where she was. Then memory crashed back. The basement. The blood. Giovanni's lips on hers. Her phone was buzzing on the nightstand. 17 missed calls from Brittany. She grabbed it with shaking hands. "Britt, I'm so sorry. I should have." "There are men outside my dorm." Brittany's voice was tight with panic. "Big men in suits. They said you sent them." "Lauren, what the hell is going on?" "It's okay. They're there to keep you safe." "Safe from what? And where were you last night? I came by the apartment and you weren't there. And Mom's been asking questions and I had to lie to her because I didn't know what else to do." "And breathe." Lauren sat up, ignoring the protest from her ribs. "I'm fine. I'm at work. There was an incident, but it's handled now." "What kind of incident?" "The kind that requires security for a few days. Just let them do their job, okay? Don't fight them on this." Silence. Then quieter. "Are you in trouble?" Lauren thought about Giovanni's hands on her face, about the screaming in the basement, about the way he'd kissed her like she was something precious instead of something broken. "No," she said, "I'm not in trouble." She hoped that was true. Downstairs, the mansion was different. Or maybe Lauren was different, and everything else just looked changed because of it. Maria pressed a cup of coffee into her hands without a word, but her eyes said plenty. Carlos avoided looking at her altogether. Tommy dropped a serving tray when she walked into the kitchen, and the crash made everyone jump. "Sorry," he stammered, scrambling to pick up the pieces. "Sorry, it's fine." Lauren crouched to help him, and he flinched away like she'd struck him. That's when she understood. They were afraid of her now, not because of anything she'd done, but because of what Giovanni had done for her. She'd become dangerous by association. Maria caught her arm as she headed toward the servitor's stairs. "The front entrance, remember Mr. Moretti's orders." "Maria, that's ridiculous. I can't just—" "You can. You will." Maria's grip tightened. "And you'll smile when you do it. Because everyone in this house needs to see that you belong here now, that you're not just staff anymore." "But I am just staff." "No, mi hija. You stopped being just staff the moment he went into that basement for you." Maria released her arm. "Now go. He's waiting for you in the breakfast room." The front entrance. Lauren had walked past it 1,000 times, but never through it. It felt wrong using the same door as Giovanni's guests, using the same door as people who mattered. But she did it anyway. Walked through the grand foyer with her head up past the Caravaggio painting that was probably worth more than her entire neighborhood. past the marble fountain that burbled softly in the corner, past the grandfather clock that had been ticking since before she was born. The breakfast room was smaller than she'd expected, intimate. Windows overlooked the private garden and morning light made everything golden. Giovanni sat at the head of the table reading something on his tablet. He'd shaved since last night. His suit was different. He looked like a man who ran an empire, not someone who'd beaten two men half to death 12 hours ago. He looked up when she entered, set down the tablet. "You slept well." It wasn't a question. "Better than I should have." Lauren hovered near the doorway, unsure if she was supposed to sit or serve or leave. "Sit down, eat something." He gestured to the spread on the table. Fruit pastries, eggs, bacon. Enough food to feed her and Brittany for a week. She sat, poured coffee with hands that only shook a little. Giovanni watched her with an intensity that made her skin warm. "Your sister called you." "How did you—" She stopped. Of course he knew. "Yes, she's upset about the security." "She'll adjust." "Will she?" Lauren met his eyes. "Giovanni, you can't just put armed guards on a college student and expect her not to ask questions. She can ask all the questions she wants. She'll get the same answer." There was a credible threat, and I'm neutralizing it. He picked up his coffee cup. "Speaking of which, Sal Russo sent a message this morning." Lauren's stomach clenched. "What kind of message?" "The apologetic kind. Apparently seeing what was left of his men convinced him that challenging me was a poor strategic decision." Giovanni's mouth curved slightly. "He's requesting a sit-down. Wants to make peace. Will you meet with him?" "Eventually, after he's had time to truly appreciate his mistake." He set down the cup. "But that's not your concern. Your concern is deciding what you want to do next." "I don't understand." "You're not cleaning anymore. I meant what I said last night." He stood, walked to the window. "You're smart, Lauren. I've watched you reorganize the household inventory system. I've seen the way you manage schedules predict problems before they happen. You have skills that are wasted on scrubbing floors." Pride and suspicion warred in her chest. "What are you offering?" "A position in the legitimate side of my business. Property management maybe, or finance. We'll find something that fits." He turned to face her. "You'll make 3 times what you're making now. Health insurance that will cover your mother's treatments, and a security detail that ensures what happened in that alley never happens again." It was too much, too fast. "Why, boy? Why do you think?" "Because you feel guilty. Because you think you owe me something. Because your enemies used me to send a message." "No." He crossed back to the table, leaned down until his face was level with hers. "Because I don't want you disappearing into the walls anymore. Because I want you in rooms where I can see you. Because last night I realized that the thought of you getting hurt again makes me want to burn this entire city to the ground. And that's not a feeling I can afford to ignore." Lauren's breath caught. "That's not protection. That's possession." "Yes," he said it without shame. "It is. And if that terrifies you, if that makes you want to run, then you should go now. Back to your apartment in the Bronx, back to your double shifts and your overdue bills, back to being invisible." His hand came up, fingers curling under her chin. "But I don't think you want that anymore. Do you?" She should say yes, should push his hand away, should remember that this man had ordered violence without hesitation, that his world was built on blood and fear, that getting close to him was the most dangerous thing she could possibly do. Instead, she whispered no. His eyes darkened. "Then we understand each other." "I don't understand anything about you." "You will." He straightened. "First lesson starts now. Come with me." He led her through the mansion to a wing she'd never entered. His private office, larger than the study, with windows that overlooked the entire city. Computer monitors lined one wall, filing cabinets lined another. In the center, a conference table scattered with papers and photographs. "This is where I actually work," Giovanni said, closing the door behind them. "Everything else is theater. This is reality." Lauren walked to the table. The photographs showed buildings, warehouses, shipping containers, numbers written in margins, calculations she didn't fully understand. "What is all this import-export? Legitimate business mostly, some gray areas here and there." He joined her at the table. "I need someone I can trust to manage the logistics. Someone smart enough to spot problems. Someone who won't ask questions when things get complicated." You mean someone you can control. I mean someone who understands that loyalty is a two-way street. He gathered the photographs, tapped them into a neat stack. I take care of my people, Lauren. Always, but I expect the same in return. And if I say no, his expression didn't change. Then you go back to your old job. No hard feelings. The security stays on your sister until I'm certain the threat is past. Your mother's medical bills get paid anyway. You walk away clean. You'd really let me go. I'd really let you go. Something flickered in his eyes. But I'd also spend every day regretting it. The honesty in those words hit her harder than any threat could have. Lauren looked at the photographs again, at the evidence of Giovanni's empire spread across the table. She thought about her mother hooked up to machines 3 times a week, about Brittany studying herself half to death to escape the same poverty Lauren had grown up in, about herself invisible and overlooked and so tired of being afraid. What would I have to do? Giovanni smiled. Learn. The next 3 hours passed in a blur of information. Giovanni walked her through the business, explaining import schedules and customs regulations and the careful dance between legal operations and the less legal ones that funded them. He showed her spreadsheets, taught her codes, introduced her to the language of his world. Lauren's head spun, but she absorbed it all. Asked questions, made notes, felt something wake up inside her that had been dormant for years. She'd been smart once, before exhaustion and poverty had beaten it out of her, before surviving became more important than thriving. You're good at this, Giovanni said, watching her work through a logistics problem he'd given her. I had 2 years of college before Mom got sick. Lauren didn't look up from the numbers. Business administration. I was going to be someone. You still can be. In your world, being someone means being dangerous. Yes, he didn't apologize for it, but it also means never being a victim again. She thought about the alley, the rain, the fists, the terror of being helpless. Teach me, she said. They worked through lunch. Maria brought food at some point, but Lauren barely noticed. She was too focused on understanding the structure Giovanni had built, the careful balance between legitimate business and criminal enterprise. It was elegant in a way she hadn't expected. Brutal, yes. Dangerous, absolutely, but also brilliant. You're a quick study, Giovanni said as evening shadows started creeping across the office. Most people take weeks to grasp what you've learned in hours. Most people probably aren't as motivated as I am. And what motivates you, Lauren? She finally looked up from the papers. Not being powerless. Not watching people I love suffer because I can't protect them. Not being invisible anymore. She paused. The word hung between them. Giovanni went very still. That's dangerous, he said quietly. I know. I'm not a good man. I know that too. Then you understand that this path, staying here, working for me, being close to me, it changes everything. There's no going back from this. Lauren thought about her apartment in the Bronx, about scrubbing toilets and folding towels and being grateful for the work, about walking home afraid every night, about being nobody. I don't want to go back, she said. Giovanni crossed the room in 3 strides. His hands framed her face, careful of the bruises that were starting to yellow at the edges. If you stay, you're mine, not as property, not as something I own, but as someone I protect, someone I value, someone I will go to war for. His thumb brushed her cheekbone. Can you live with that? Can you live with me having opinions? Fighting you, not being some obedient, oh, you keep in a pretty room? He laughed, sharp and surprised. I'd be disappointed if you were. Then yes. Lauren's heart hammered. I can live with it. He kissed her, then harder than last night, less careful. His hands tangled in her hair, and she tasted coffee and something darker. When he pulled back, they were both breathing hard. We need to talk about Russo, Giovanni said, resting his forehead against hers. The shift from heated to business was jarring. What about him? He'll want to see you, to confirm that you're real, that you matter to me, that his men actually hurt someone I care about and not just a random employee. Cold spread through Lauren's chest. You want me to meet with him? I want you prepared for when he tries to use you against me. Giovanni stepped back and his expression was serious now. Professional. You're a target now, Lauren. You were always going to be once I made it clear you weren't just staff. But Russo will try to exploit that. He'll try to get to me through you. Let him try. That's bravado talking. No. Lauren's voice was steady. That's someone who's tired of being afraid. You said staying here means I'm yours to protect. Well, I'm also mine to protect. So teach me how. Giovanni studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded. All right, but not today. Today you rest. Your ribs are still healing and you look exhausted. I'm fine. You're not. And I need you sharp, not running on empty. He walked to the door, opened it. Maria will show you to your new room. Permanent quarters on the 3rd floor. Your things from the apartment are being moved as we speak. Lauren blinked. You're moving me in? You can't protect someone who lives across the city, and I can't run an empire worrying about whether you made it home safely every night. He said it matter-of-factly, as if rearranging her entire life was perfectly reasonable. Unless you object, she should object, should be angry at the presumption, should demand to make her own choices about where she lived. But the truth was, her apartment was a shoebox with broken heating and neighbors who pretended not to hear when things got loud next door. Her apartment was a place she endured, not somewhere she lived. What about Brittany? She can have the room next to yours when she visits. Your mother too when she's well enough. Giovanni's expression softened slightly. I told you, Lauren, I take care of my people. That includes your family now. This is insane. Yes, he smiled. Welcome to my world. The new room was 3 times the size of her entire apartment. Private bathroom with a tub big enough to swim in. Walk-in closet already stocked with clothes in her size. Windows that overlooked the garden. A desk, bookshelves, sitting area. It was beautiful and terrifying and too much. Maria was waiting inside supervising as 2 men carried in boxes. Lauren's entire life packed up and transported without her permission. He moves fast, Maria said when they were alone. Always has. This is crazy, right? Tell me this is crazy. It's crazy, Maria arranged towels in the bathroom with practiced efficiency. It's also the safest you've ever been in your life, and the most dangerous. Both things can be true. Lauren sank onto the bed. The mattress was perfect. Of course it was. How do you do it? Work for him knowing what he's capable of. The same way you will. By remembering that for every terrible thing he does it to protect something or someone he values. Mr. Moretti is not a good man by conventional standards, but he's loyal, he's fair, and he never forgets who stands with him. And the people who don't, Maria's expression went carefully blank. They learn not to make that mistake twice. After Maria left, Lauren unpacked slowly. Her clothes looked shabby next to the new ones in the closet. Her books seemed cheap on the expensive shelves. Everything she owned felt inadequate in this space. Her phone buzzed. A text from Giovanni. Dinner at 8. Wear something nice. We're going out. Her stomach flipped. Out where out, meaning a restaurant. Out, meaning more of his world she'd have to learn to navigate. She texted back, I don't have anything nice. The response came immediately. Check the closet, left side. Maria has excellent taste. Lauren walked to the closet. The left side held dresses she'd never be able to afford in 1,000 years. Designer labels, silk and cashmere colors that would make her invisible no more. She pulled out a deep blue dress, simple but elegant, held it against herself in the mirror. The woman looking back was a stranger, bruised but healing, tired but awake, afraid but willing. She wondered if her mother would recognize her, if Brittany would understand, if she'd recognize herself when this was all over. Her phone buzzed again. Different number, unknown. The message made her blood go cold. You think Moretti can protect you? You think you matter to him? Ask him about Elena. Ask him what happened to the last woman he cared about. Then decide if you really want to stay in that house. Lauren stared at the screen. Elena. Who was Elena? She should tell Giovanni, should show him the message immediately. Instead, she deleted it, blocked the number, tried to forget the words burned into her brain. But at 7:45, when she slipped into the blue dress and checked her reflection one last time, Elena's name echoed in her head like a warning bell. Giovanni was waiting in the foyer. He'd changed into a different suit, darker. His eyes tracked over her, and something heated in his expression. You look beautiful. Who's Elena? The question came out before Lauren could stop it. Giovanni went completely still. Where did you hear that name? Someone texted me, told me to ask you about her. Lauren held up her phone, said she was the last woman you cared about, said I should ask what happened to her before I decided to stay here. For a moment, Giovanni said nothing. Then he took the phone from her hand, looked at the blocked number, and his jaw tightened. Russo, he's already trying to get in your head. So tell me, who was she? Someone who died because she got too close to me. The words were flat, empty. Someone Russo's father killed to send a message 15 years ago. Someone I failed to protect. The pain in his voice was raw enough to cut. Lauren stepped closer. How old were you? 23. Young and stupid and convinced I could keep her safe. He handed back the phone. I couldn't. And you think you'll fail me too. I think I'm better prepared now than I was then. But I also think Russo is right to use her against me. Giovanni's hand came up, cupped her cheek. Because the truth is, Lauren, I will burn this city to ash before I let what happened to Elena happen to you. And that kind of commitment makes people act irrationally, makes them vulnerable. Then we'll be vulnerable together. You don't know what you're saying. Yes, I do. She covered his hand with hers. I'm saying that I'm not Elena. I'm not some innocent girl who doesn't understand your world. I'm saying that if Russo wants to use me against you, he'll find out I'm not as easy to break as he thinks. Giovanni's eyes searched hers, then he kissed her hard and desperate and full of something that felt like fear. We should go, he said when they broke apart, before I decide to lock you in this mansion and never let you leave. Where are we going? To remind the city that I'm still in control. He offered his arm, and to introduce them to the woman who's going to stand beside me while I do it. The car was waiting outside, not the usual black sedan, but something sleeker, more conspicuous. Giovanni helped her in and she realized this wasn't about transportation. This was about being seen. They drove through Manhattan as evening fell, through neighborhoods Lauren recognized from her old commute, past the subway station where she used to emerge exhausted every night, past the bodega where she bought groceries with coupons, past the life she'd left behind. The restaurant was the kind of place Lauren had only seen in magazines. Valet parking, red carpet, cameras flashing. Giovanni got out first and the cameras went crazy. Then he reached back for her hand. Lauren hesitated. Once she stepped out of that car, once those cameras caught her face, there was no going back. Everyone would know she was connected to Giovanni Moretti. Everyone would see her. She thought about the alley, about being invisible, about Elena, whoever she'd been. She took his hand and stepped into the light. The cameras exploded. Questions flew from every direction, but Giovanni ignored them all. His hand was steady on the small of his back as he guided her inside. Past reporters, past onlookers, past the old world and into the new one. In the restaurant, heads turned. Conversations stopped. Lauren felt every eye in the room track their movement to the private table in the back. Giovanni's table, she realized. The one held permanently for him, the way kings used to hold court. Breathe, he murmured. You're doing fine. Everyone's staring. Let them. They need to see you with me. Need to understand that you're under my protection now. A waiter appeared, took their drink orders, disappeared. Giovanni leaned back in his chair, completely at ease, while Lauren felt like she might vibrate out of her skin. I hate this, she admitted. I know, but it's necessary. His eyes scanned the room, cataloging threats. Russo's people are here. 3 of them. Near the bar. They're watching. Should we leave? No, we stay, we eat. We act like we own this place. His gaze returned to her. Because we do. The meal was torture. Every bite stuck in Lauren's throat. Every time someone approached their table to pay respects to Giovanni, she felt herself being evaluated, measured, found wanting or dangerous or interesting. She couldn't tell which. But Giovanni's hand found hers under the table, steady and warm, and she made it through. They were almost done when a man approached. Older, silver-haired, expensive suit. He smiled at Giovanni like they were old friends. Moretti, I heard you were back in circulation. Sal, Giovanni's voice was ice wrapped in silk. Kind of you to send your regards this morning. Sal Russo. Lauren felt herself go rigid. Giovanni's hand tightened around hers. Just wanted to clear the air. What happened was unfortunate. A miscommunication. Russo's eyes slid to Lauren. I hope you're recovering well, my dear. Go away, Sal. Now, let's not be rude. I just wanted to make sure there were no hard feelings. After all, we're both businessmen. These things happen. Giovanni stood slowly. The entire restaurant seemed to hold its breath. If you ever speak to her again, if you ever look at her again, If you even think her name in your head, I will take everything from you. Your businesses, your territory, your family, everything. Do you understand? Russo's smile never wavered, but something flickered in his eyes. Fear. Understood. Good, now leave. Russo left. The restaurant exhaled. Giovanni sat back down and resumed eating as if nothing had happened. Lauren's hands were shaking. He doesn't believe you. He will. When Giovanni looked at her and his expression was absolutely cold. Soon. Very soon. They left the restaurant an hour later. The cameras were still waiting, and this time Lauren didn't hesitate. She held her head high, Giovanni's hand on her back, and walked through the lights like she belonged there, because maybe she did. In the car, Giovanni pulled her close. You did well tonight. I felt like I was going to throw up the entire time. Yet you didn't. You stayed calm. You let them see you're not afraid. He pressed a kiss to her temple. I'm proud of you. Those words shouldn't have meant so much, but they settled into her chest like warmth, and Lauren realized she'd been cold for a very long time. What happens now? She asked. Now we wait for Russo to make his next move, and when he does, we finish this. How? Giovanni's smile was sharp enough to cut. By reminding him why nobody challenges me and lives to regret it. The mansion was quiet when they returned. Lauren kicked off her heels in her room, suddenly exhausted. The day had been impossibly long. The world had shifted under her feet a dozen times, and she was still trying to find her balance. A knock on her door. Giovanni still in his suit, but with his tie loosened. Can't sleep. Too much in my head. He stepped inside, closed the door behind him. Want to talk about it. I want to know if I made the right choice. Staying here. Letting you rearrange my life. Becoming whatever I'm becoming. I can't answer that for you. Try. Giovanni was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, You'll never be invisible again. You'll always be looking over your shoulder. You'll always be a target for people who want to hurt me. You'll watch me do terrible things and have to decide if you can live with that. Your life will never be simple or safe or easy. That's not exactly a ringing endorsement, but he crossed to where she stood by the window. You'll also never be powerless again. You'll have resources to protect your family. You'll have skills that make you valuable. You'll have me for whatever that's worth. His hand found hers. And you'll matter, not just to me, to everyone in the city. You'll matter in a way you never could have, that is just another girl scrubbing floors and hoping to survive. Lauren looked at their joined hands. Is that enough? Only you can answer that. She thought about the alley, about being beaten and left for dead like she was nothing, about years of being invisible, overlooked, dismissed, about power and safety and the price of both. Kiss me, she said. Giovanni didn't hesitate. He pulled her close and kissed her like she was air and he was drowning. Lauren kissed back with everything in her, all the fear and hope and desperate need to believe this was right. When they broke apart, she whispered, Stay. Lauren, stay, please. I don't want to be alone tonight. So he did. They lay together on top of the covers, fully clothed, his arms around her. Lauren pressed her ear to his chest and listened to his heartbeat, steady and strong. Tell me about Elena, she said quietly. Not tonight. Then when you're ready to hear it, when I'm ready to tell it. His hand stroked her hair. Sleep, Lauren. Tomorrow starts a new chapter. She wanted to argue, wanted answers, but exhaustion dragged her down, and the last thing she remembered before sleep took her was feeling safer than she had in years. Even though she knew that safety was an illusion. Even though she knew Giovanni's world would demand a price she might not be able to pay. Even though everything had changed and there was no going back. She slept and dreamed of alleys and blood and a voice asking, Who did this to you? Said the Mafia Boss. By dawn, she knew every man in the city would fear for his life. Starting with Sal Russo. Lauren woke alone. The sheets beside her were cold, Giovanni already gone. Her phone showed 6:30 in the morning and 3 missed texts. The first was from Brittany. Mom wants to know why there are men following me to class. What do I tell her? The second was from an unknown number, a photo, Sal Russo leaving a building Lauren didn't recognize. Below it, a single line, he's planning something. Be careful. The third was from Giovanni. Breakfast in my office. We have work to do. She dressed quickly, her hands steadier than yesterday. The bruises on her face had faded enough that makeup could hide most of them. She looked almost normal. almost like someone who belonged in silk blouses and tailored pants instead of a maid's uniform. Almost. Giovanni's office was full of men when she arrived. 5 of them, all in dark suits, all armed. She could see the bulges under their jackets. They went quiet when she walked in, every eye tracking her movement. "Gentlemen," Giovanni said without looking up from the papers spread across his desk. "This is Lauren. She's my new logistics coordinator. You'll treat her with the same respect you show me. Anyone have a problem with that?" Silence. Then one of them, older with a scar bisecting his eyebrow, stepped forward. "Michael Caruso, head of security. Nice to finally meet you properly, Miss Lauren." "Just Lauren is fine. With respect, it's not." Michael's voice was gruff but not unkind. "You're the boss's girl now. That means something around here." The boss's girl. The words should have rankled. Instead, they settled over her like armor. Giovanni finally looked up. "Lauren, we've had a development. Show her Michael." Michael pulled out a tablet, tapped the screen. Security footage appeared. A warehouse, men loading crates into trucks, timestamp from 3 hours ago. "That's Russo's operation on the waterfront," Giovanni said. "He's moving product out. All of it. Everything he has stored there." "Why, Lauren asked. "Because he knows I'm coming for him." Giovanni's smile was cold. "He's trying to minimize his losses, salvage what he can before I take it." "So stop him." "We could, but that would be predictable." Giovanni stood, walked to where she was standing. "What would you do?" The question caught her off guard. "What? You have a business degree. You understand logistics. If you were Russo and you knew someone was about to destroy you, what would you do?" Lauren looked at the footage again. Men working quickly, efficiently, too efficiently. "I'd make it look like I was running. Make you focus on the obvious move while I did something else. Something you wouldn't expect." Giovanni's eyes lit up. "Go on." "The warehouse is a decoy. He wants you watching it, maybe even hitting it, while he's actually doing something else entirely." Her mind raced. What else does Russo control? 3 restaurants, 2 clubs, a construction company, and shipping routes through Newark. Michael rattled off the list like he'd memorized it. "The shipping routes." Lauren pointed at the screen. "He's not moving product out. He's moving something in. Something he doesn't want you to see." The room went absolutely silent. Then Giovanni laughed sharp and surprised. "Get eyes on Newark. Now, I want to know every ship that's docked there in the last 48 hours. Michael pulled out his phone, started barking orders. The other men scattered. Within minutes, Lauren and Giovanni were alone. "You're good at this," he said. "I'm terrified." "Good. Fear keeps you sharp." He pulled her close, kissed her forehead. "But trust yourself. You saw something 5 experienced men missed. What if I'm wrong? Then we adjust, but I don't think you are." His phone buzzed. He glanced at it and his expression hardened. "We have confirmation. Russo's expecting a shipment tonight. 8 containers manifested as construction materials." "But they're not." "No, they're not." Giovanni's hand tightened on her waist. "The question is, do we intercept or let it land and trace where it goes?" Lauren thought about the alley, about Russo's smile in the restaurant, about Elena, whoever she'd been. Let it land, follow the trail, find out who he's working with. That's the smart play. "But not the one you want to make." Giovanni's jaw tightened. "No, I want to burn his shipment and leave him with nothing. I want him to know I took it from him. That's emotion talking, not strategy." "You're right." He released her, turned back to his desk. "Which is why I need you here to remind me that revenge is less useful than information." His phone rang. He answered, listened, then held it out to Lauren. "It's your sister." Lauren's stomach dropped. She took the phone. "Britt." "Lauren, what the hell is going on?" Brittany's voice was shaking. "Some guy just approached me outside the library. Said he had a message for Giovanni Moretti. Said to tell him that hurting me would hurt you and hurting you would hurt him. Lauren, I'm scared." Ice flooded Lauren's veins. "Where are you right now?" "Still at the library. The security guys you sent, they grabbed the guy. But Lauren, this is insane. Why are people threatening me?" "What did you do?" "Nothing. I didn't do anything." Lauren's eyes met Giovanni's. His expression had gone absolutely flat. "Stay with the security team. Don't go anywhere alone. I'm coming to get you." "You can't just..." "Yes, I can. Stay there. Don't move." She ended the call, handed the phone back to Giovanni. He went after Brittany. I know. Giovanni was already moving, pulling on his jacket. Michael, I need 4 cars and 12 men. Now, Lauren, you're staying here. Like hell I am. That's my sister. Which is exactly why you're staying. If Russo wanted to grab her, he would have. This is a message. He's showing me he can reach the people I care about. Giovanni gripped her shoulders. If you go, you're giving him exactly what he wants. Another target. Another way to hurt me. She's scared. She needs me. She needs you alive. She needs you safe. She needs you to trust me to handle this. His eyes bored into hers. Can you do that? Every instinct screamed at Lauren to get to her sister, to protect Brittany the way she'd been doing since their father left. But Giovanni was right. Going to Colombia right now would just put more people in danger. Bring her here, Lauren said. Not to the dorm, here, where she's actually safe. Already planned on it. Giovanni kissed her hard and fast. Stay in this office. Don't leave until I get back. Michael, you're with me. Tony, you stay with Lauren. Anyone tries to get in here, you shoot first and ask questions, never. One of the remaining men stepped forward, young, maybe 25, with nervous hands. Yes, sir. Then Giovanni was gone, taking most of the security with him. Lauren stood in the middle of his office, her heart hammering while Tony positioned himself by the door, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. How long have you worked for him? Lauren asked, just to break the silence. 2 years. Tony's voice cracked slightly. Best job I ever had. Boss takes care of us, you'd know. My ma needed surgery last year, he paid for it. Didn't even ask me to pay him back. He's good at taking care of people. Yeah, Tony shifted his weight. But he's also good at destroying them when they cross him. Just so you know. I'm starting to understand that. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, then thought better of it. Hello? Lauren. Sal Russo's voice was smooth as oil. I hope your sister is all right. Terrible thing being approached by a strange man. Campus safety is so important these days. Lauren's hand tightened on the phone. If you touch her, I'm not going to touch her. That's not my style. I just wanted you to understand something. Russo's voice dropped. Giovanni thinks he can protect you. He thinks putting guards on your family makes you safe. But the thing about caring for people, Lauren, is that it gives your enemies leverage. And I have all the leverage I need. What do you want? I want you to leave. Pack your bags, take your sister and your mother, and disappear. Get out of New York. Get out of Giovanni's life before he gets you killed. Russo paused. Because that's what he does, Lauren. He gets the people he loves killed. Ask him about Elena. Really ask him. Find out how she died. Then ask yourself if you want to be next. I'm not afraid of you. Then you're a fool. The line went dead. Lauren stood there, phone pressed to her ear, rage and fear warring in her chest. Tony was watching her carefully. You okay, miss? No, but I will be. She pulled up her contacts, found Maria's number. Maria, I need you to do something for me. Anything, mi hija. I need you to tell me about Elena. The truth, all of it. Silence on the other end. Then quietly, that's not my story to tell. Then whose is it? Mr. Moretti's. And only when he's ready. Maria's voice softened. But I'll tell you this. What happened to her wasn't his fault. He was young. He didn't know what his father was capable of. And by the time he figured it out, it was too late. His father, Lauren's blood, went cold. What does Giovanni's father have to do with Elena? Everything and nothing. It's complicated. Maria sighed. Just know that Mr. Moretti spent 15 years making sure he'd never fail someone the way he failed her. That's why he's so careful now. So controlled. So ruthless. Because love made him weak once and it cost someone their life. Is that supposed to make me feel better? No, it's supposed to help you understand him. Maria paused. He's not going to let anything happen to you or your sister Lauren. He'd burn the world first. That's what Lauren was afraid of. Giovanni returned 90 minutes later with Brittany in tow. Her sister looked shell-shocked, her usual confidence stripped away. She saw Lauren and ran, throwing her arms around her. What is happening? Brittany's voice was muffled against Lauren's shoulder. Who are these people? Why did that guy threaten me, Lauren? You have to tell me what's going on. I will. I promise, but right now, you need to trust me. Lauren pulled back, looked her sister in the eye. You're safe here. Giovanni won't let anyone hurt you. Brittany's gaze slid to Giovanni, who stood in the doorway watching them. He's a criminal. Yes. And you're with him. Yes. Are you insane? Brittany's voice rose. Lauren, you can't just— Mom would die if she knew. What are you thinking? I'm thinking that I'm tired of being powerless. I'm thinking that working 3 jobs to keep us afloat wasn't sustainable. I'm thinking that Giovanni offers protection and resources we'd never have otherwise. Lauren gripped her sister's shoulders. And I'm thinking that I'm not asking your permission. Brittany stared at her like she'd grown a second head. What happened to you? I got beat up in an alley by men who wanted to hurt Giovanni. And instead of firing me to avoid the trouble, he went to war for me. So yes, I'm with him. And yes, it's dangerous, but it's also the safest I've been in years. That doesn't make sense. Welcome to my life. Lauren looked at Giovanni. Can you give us a minute? He nodded and left, closing the door behind him. Brittany sank into a chair, her hands shaking. I don't understand any of this. You don't have to understand. You just have to trust me. Lauren knelt in front of her. I know this is scary. I know it's not what we planned. But Britt, I can pay for Mom's treatments now. All of them. And your tuition. And you won't have to take out loans or work 2 jobs to get through med school. At what cost? Brittany's eyes filled with tears. You could die, Lauren. People like him, they don't have normal lives. They don't get happy endings. Maybe not, but they also don't spend their lives invisible and afraid. Lauren squeezed her sister's hands. I'm choosing this, Britt, not because I have to, because I want to. Brittany pulled her hands away. Then you're choosing him over us. No, I'm choosing all of it. Him and you and Mom and a life that's bigger than just surviving. Lauren stood. You can hate me for it if you want, but I'm not going back. Her sister looked at her for a long moment. Then she wiped her eyes and stood. I need to think. Can I stay here tonight? You can stay as long as you want. Your room is next to mine. Of course it is. Brittany headed for the door, then stopped. Does he make you happy? Lauren thought about Giovanni's hands on her face, about the way he'd kissed her like she was precious, about the cold fury in his eyes when he'd learned someone had hurt her. I don't know yet, she admitted, but he makes me feel alive. Brittany left without another word. Lauren stood in the empty office, exhaustion crashing over her. Her phone buzzed. Giovanni, come to the basement when you're ready. There's something you need to see. Her stomach tightened. The basement meant business, meant violence, meant the part of Giovanni's world she wasn't sure she could stomach. But she went anyway. The basement was different from last time. Cleaner. No chairs, no prisoners. Just Giovanni and Michael standing over a laptop. What is it? Lauren asked. Russo's shipment landed an hour ago. Giovanni turned the laptop so she could see. More security footage, containers being unloaded. But you were right. It's not construction materials. What is it? Weapons, military grade, enough to start a small war. Michael zoomed in on one of the crates. And they're not staying in Newark. They're being transported into the city. To where? That's what we're trying to figure out. Giovanni's jaw was tight. But the fact that Russo is arming up means he's planning something big, something desperate. Or someone's backing him, Lauren said slowly. Someone with resources. Someone who wants you gone as much as he does. Giovanni and Michael exchanged looks. Go on, Giovanni said. You said Russo contacted you wanting to make peace, but then he went after Brittany. He's testing you, yes, but he's also stalling, buying time. Lauren pointed at the screen. For what? For weapons to arrive, for backup to get in place. He's not working alone. Who would be stupid enough to partner with Russo against me? Someone from out of town, someone who doesn't know your reputation, or someone who thinks they can take you if they hit hard enough and fast enough. Lauren's mind raced. You need to find out where those weapons are going, because wherever it is, that's where the attack is coming from. Michael was already on his phone. Giovanni pulled Lauren aside. If you're right and there's another player involved, this could get ugly fast. It's already ugly. Uglier. Brittany stays here. Your mother too. I'm bringing her from the hospital today. She'll be more comfortable here anyway. He cupped her face. And you stay close to me. Always. No wandering off, no taking chances. Understood. I'm not a child. No, you're the woman I'm falling in love with, which makes you exponentially more valuable and vulnerable. The words came out raw. So please, Lauren, for once, just let me keep you safe. Falling in love with. The phrase hung in the air between them like a live wire. Say that again, Lauren whispered. Which part? The part where you're falling in love with me. Giovanni's thumb brushed her cheek. I'm falling in love with you. Have been since you started rearranging my books by color. Probably before that, if I'm honest. He pressed his forehead to hers. So if something happens to you because of me, because of this life, I won't survive it. Do you understand I can handle a lot of things? Losing you isn't one of them. Then don't lose me. Lauren kissed him hard and fast, and I won't lose you. Michael cleared his throat. Boss, we've got movement. The trucks are heading toward Queens. Multiple vehicles. They're splitting up. Giovanni pulled away from Lauren, his expression shifting back to business. How many? 6 trucks. Different routes. They're spreading out. Smart. Harder to track, harder to intercept. Giovanni studied the laptop. Lauren, go upstairs. Check on your sister. Make sure she's settled. I want to help. You are helping by staying safe. He kissed her forehead. Go. We'll handle this. Lauren wanted to argue, wanted to stay and prove she could handle this world. But the look in Giovanni's eyes stopped her. This wasn't about her capability. It was about his fear. So she went. Brittany was in her new room sitting on the bed and staring at nothing. Lauren knocked softly. Can I come in? It's your house. It's Giovanni's house, and you're welcome here as long as you want. Lauren sat beside her. I know this is a lot. A lot. Lauren, men with guns drove me here. There are security cameras everywhere. Giovanni Moretti looked me in the eye and told me he'd kill anyone who tried to hurt me. Brittany's voice shook. This isn't a lot. This is insane. I know. Do you love him? The question caught Lauren off guard. I don't know. Maybe. It's complicated. Does he love you? He says he's falling. Lauren picked at the bedspread. But love in his world doesn't look like normal love. It's possessive and dangerous and all-consuming. And you want that? I think I do. Lauren met her sister's eyes. I think I've been invisible for so long that being seen, really seen, feels like oxygen, even if it comes with danger. Brittany was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, Mom's going to freak out. Mom's going to have the best medical care money can buy and a room in a mansion. She'll adjust. You've really thought this through. No, I'm making it up as I go, but I'm committed now. Lauren took her sister's hand. I need you to understand that this isn't just about me and Giovanni. It's about all of us having a better life, a safer life, ironically. How is being connected to a mob boss safer? Because the people who used to ignore us now have to respect us. Because we have protection, resources, power. Lauren squeezed her hand. I know it's not what we planned, but when has anything in our life gone according to plan? Brittany laughed watery and tired. Fair point. She wiped her eyes. Fine. I'll try. But if he hurts you, I'm going to medical school specifically so I can poison him and make it look like natural causes. Deal. They sat together in silence until Maria knocked, bringing dinner. Lauren ate without tasting anything, her mind on Giovanni and weapons and Sal Russo's threats. She was checking her phone obsessively when it finally rang. Giovanni. We found them, all 6 trucks. They're converging on a location in Queens. Where a warehouse district, abandoned area, perfect for staging an attack. His voice was tight. We're moving in now. I'll call you when it's done. Wait, but he'd already hung up. Lauren stared at her phone, dread pooling in her stomach. Something felt wrong. Too easy. Russo wasn't stupid enough to put all his weapons in one place, unless that wasn't the real target. Lauren's heart stopped. She called Giovanni back. No answer. Called Michael. No answer. They were already in motion, already committed. She ran to Giovanni's office, pulled up the security system, found the feeds from Newark, from the warehouse, from the streets. 6 trucks, just like Michael said, all heading to Queens. But on another feed when they hadn't been watching, a 7th truck sat idling 2 blocks from the mansion. Lauren's blood went ice cold. She grabbed the phone on Giovanni's desk, hit the button for building security. This is Lauren. We have a threat. Possible vehicle 2 blocks south. I need eyes on it now. Ma'am, there's nothing on our... An explosion rocked the mansion. The windows shattered. Alarms screamed. Lauren hit the floor, glass raining down around her. Her ears rang. Smoke poured through the broken windows. "Brittany," she gasped, scrambling to her feet. Her hands were bleeding. Her head spun. But she ran anyway down the hall toward her sister's room. The door was open. The room was empty. "Brittany," Lauren's scream tore from her throat. "Brittany, where are you?" Gunfire erupted from downstairs. Men shouting. More glass breaking. Lauren grabbed a letter opener from a nearby desk, the only weapon she could find. Her phone was buzzing. Giovanni calling. She answered. "Lauren, get out of there. Now. It's a trap. The warehouse was a diversion. Russo's hitting the mansion." "I know. They took Brittany." Lauren's voice was surprisingly steady. "They took my sister, and I'm going to get her back." "Lauren, no. Wait for me. We're 10 minutes out." "She doesn't have 10 minutes. Lauren ended the call, gripped the letter opener tighter, and went hunting. The stairs were filled with smoke. Tony lay at the bottom, blood pooling around him. Lauren checked his pulse. Gone. She took his gun, surprised by how natural it felt in her hand. All those years watching crime shows. All those times she'd wondered if she could actually pull a trigger. She was about to find out. Voices from the kitchen. 2 men, maybe 3. Laughing. One of them said something about a girl, about how Russo would pay extra for her. About what they'd do before they handed her over. Lauren saw red. She stepped into the kitchen, raised the gun with both hands like she'd seen on TV. "Where's my sister?" The men spun. One reached for his weapon. Lauren fired. The gun kicked harder than expected, but her aim was true. He went down. The other 2 dove for cover. "You're making a mistake," one of them shouted. "Russo's orders are to take you both alive. But he didn't say we couldn't hurt you first." "Come try." Lauren's voice was cold. She felt detached from herself, watching from a distance as she moved through the kitchen. Found cover behind the island. Fired again, keeping them pinned. The third man tried to circle around. Lauren spun, squeezed the trigger. "Miss." He raised his gun. She fired again. This time she didn't miss. 2 down, 1 left. "Your sister is already gone," the last man said. "Russo has her. You want to see her again? You put down the gun and come with me. Tell me where she is and I'll consider letting you live." He laughed. "You're not a killer, sweetheart. You're just a maid playing dress-up in a world you don't understand." Lauren thought about the alley, about being beaten, about being invisible, about 3 years of taking orders and being overlooked and being treated like she didn't matter. She stepped out from behind the island. "You're right, I was just a maid." She raised the gun. "I'm not anymore." She fired. The kitchen went silent except for the ringing in her ears and the blood rushing through her head. 3 men dead. Bisa. By her hand, she should have felt something. Horror, guilt, remorse. All she felt was cold determination. Giovanni found her there 5 minutes later. He took one look at the bodies, at the gun in her shaking hands, at the blood on her face, and his expression shattered. "Lauren." He crossed to her, pulled the gun gently from her grip. "Are you hurt?" "They took Brittany." Her voice sounded far away. "Russo has her. We have to get her back." "We will." Giovanni pulled her close. "I swear to you we will get her back. But first, are you hurt?" "I killed them." The words felt strange in her mouth. "I killed 3 men, and I don't feel anything." "That's shock. It'll hit you later." He pulled back, checked her over for injuries. "The blood isn't yours." "Tony's dead. They shot him." Lauren looked up at Giovanni. "And I need you to tell me where Russo would take my sister. Right now. Because if anything happens to her, I will burn this entire city to find him." Something fierce and proud flickered in Giovanni's eyes. "There's a building in Brooklyn. Old meatpacking plant. He uses it for interrogations." He gripped her shoulders. "But Lauren, you can't go in there. Not like this. Not when you're... Try to stop me." She pulled away from him. "You said I was yours to protect. Well, she's mine, and I'm getting her back." Giovanni stared at her for a long moment. Then he smiled, dark and terrible. "All right, let's go to war." The drive to Brooklyn took 20 minutes that felt like 20 hours. Lauren sat in the back of Giovanni's car, a new gun in her lap, her hands finally steady. Michael drove while Giovanni made calls, mobilizing his entire network. Every enforcer, every contact, every person who owed him a favor. "How many men does Russo have at the meatpacking plant?" Lauren asked. "Usually 6. Tonight probably double that." Giovanni's voice was clipped, professional. But numbers don't matter. We're going in regardless. I want a vest. Giovanni turned to look at her. No. I'm not asking permission. I killed 3 men in your kitchen. I'm not sitting in the car while you go after my sister. Lauren's voice didn't waver. Give me a vest or I go in without one. Michael glanced in the rearview mirror, then at Giovanni. She's got a point, boss. She's not trained for this. Neither was I when I started. Michael's voice was quiet. Sometimes you learn by doing. Giovanni's jaw clenched. Then he reached under the seat, pulled out a Kevlar vest. You stay behind me, always. You don't take any shots unless I tell you to. And if I say run, you run. Understood. Understood. Lauren strapped on the vest. It was heavy, uncomfortable, designed for someone larger, but it made her feel safer, or maybe just less exposed. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost ignored it, then thought better of it. Hello? Lauren. Sal Russo's voice was smooth, pleased. I have something that belongs to you. If you heard her, she's fine, scared but fine, crying for her big sister. Russo laughed. It's almost touching, really. Family loyalty. Giovanni understands that, doesn't he? It's why he's so predictable. What do you want? I want you to understand that this isn't personal. This is business. Giovanni's been running this city for too long. He's gotten soft, complacent. He needed to be reminded that power is temporary. Russo paused. But I'm not unreasonable. I'll make you a deal. Lauren's heart hammered. What deal? You for your sister. Clean trade. You come to me alone and I let Brittany go. No harm done. That's a lie. Maybe, but it's the only option where your sister definitely survives the night. Russo's voice hardened. Giovanni's planning to hit this place hard. Lots of guns, lots of violence. Your sister is in the middle of it. Accidents happen in firefights, Lauren. Stray bullets don't discriminate. Lauren looked at Giovanni. His face was stone, but his eyes were burning. He'd heard every word. I'll think about it, Lauren said. You have 10 minutes. Then I start hurting her. Russo hung up. The car went silent. Then Giovanni said very quietly, no. He's right about the firefight. Brittany could get killed in the crossfire. So could you. And he's not going to let either of you go. This is a trap. Giovanni grabbed her hand. Lauren, I know you're scared. I know you want to save your sister. But walking into that building alone is suicide. Then what's your plan? Storm in with guns blazing and hope she doesn't get caught in the middle. My plan is surgical. We go in quiet, take out the guards systematically. Get to Brittany before Russo knows we're there. Giovanni's grip tightened. But it requires patience. Precision, not rushing in because he's trying to manipulate you. And if your surgical strike fails, if they hear us coming, if Russo decides to kill her just to hurt you. Lauren pulled her hand free. I'm not willing to take that risk. And I'm not willing to lose you both. Giovanni's voice cracked slightly. Lauren, please. Trust me, I've done this 100 times. I know how to get people out of bad situations. Did you know how to get Elena out? The words came out before Lauren could stop them. Or did your surgical precision fail then too? Giovanni went completely still. The temperature in the car dropped 20 degrees. Even Michael shifted uncomfortably in the driver's seat. That was different, Giovanni said, his voice ice. How? Because you were younger, less experienced, less careful. Lauren leaned forward. Tell me what happened to her. Right now, because if I'm about to die for you, I deserve to know the truth. For a long moment, Giovanni said nothing. Then he closed his eyes. Elena was my father's accountant's daughter. Smart, beautiful. Everything I thought I wanted. We were together for 6 months before anyone found out. He opened his eyes and the pain there was raw. My father told me to end it, said she was a liability. That loving someone made you weak, I refused. What did he do? He arranged for her to be kidnapped, wanted to teach me a lesson about the cost of defiance. But the men he hired, they worked for the Russos, Sal's father specifically. And he saw an opportunity. Giovanni's hands clenched into fists. He killed Elena, sent her body back to my father in pieces, and my father blamed me for not listening, for letting love make me vulnerable. Lauren felt sick. How old were you? 23. And Sal Russo knows this story. He was there. He helped his father kill her. Giovanni's voice went flat. Which is why I've spent 15 years systematically destroying everything the Russo family built. Why Sal is the last one left. Why this ends tonight one way or another. The pieces clicked into place. This wasn't just about territory or power or business. This was about revenge 15 years in the making, and Brittany was caught in the middle of it. He's trying to recreate it, Lauren said slowly. He's trying to put you in the same position, force you to choose between storming in and risking the person you care about or letting him control the situation. I know, Giovanni looked at her, which is why we're not playing his game. We're changing the rules. Michael pulled the car over 2 blocks from the meatpacking plant. Giovanni made 3 more calls, his voice low and urgent. Lauren checked her gun, made sure the safety was off, tried not to think about the fact that she was about to walk into a war zone. The building has 3 entrances, Giovanni said, pulling up a schematic on his phone. Front, back, and a loading dock on the east side. Russo will expect us to hit one of them. So we're not. Then how do we get in? There's a sewer access in the basement. Maintenance tunnel that runs under the whole block. We go in through there, come up inside the building. Giovanni zoomed in on the map. Michael, you take 6 men through the loading dock. Make noise. Draw their attention. Marco will hit the front with another 4. I'll take Lauren through the tunnel. That's insane, Lauren said. You'll be completely exposed when you come up. No, we'll be exactly where they're not looking. Giovanni's smile was sharp. Russo thinks I'm predictable. Let's prove him wrong. They moved fast after that. Michael and his team peeled off, disappearing into the darkness. Giovanni led Lauren down a side street past abandoned buildings and empty lots to a manhole cover half hidden behind a dumpster. You've got to be kidding, Lauren muttered. You wanted in on this. Welcome to the glamorous life of organized crime. Giovanni pried up the cover, revealing a ladder descending into darkness. Stay close. Watch your step. And whatever you do, don't make noise. The tunnel was worse than Lauren imagined. Cold, wet, smelling of things she didn't want to identify. Their footsteps echoed despite their attempts at stealth. Water dripped from somewhere overhead. Giovanni moved like he'd done this 1,000 times, which he probably had. How much further? Lauren whispered. 50 feet. There's a junction up ahead. We go right then, up through a maintenance shaft. Giovanni stopped suddenly, held up a hand. Voices above them, muffled but audible. Men talking, laughing. One of them said something about the girl, about how she wouldn't stop crying, about how Russo was getting impatient. Lauren's hands clenched around her gun. That was Brittany they were talking about. Her baby sister, the one she'd raised, the one she'd protected her whole life. And these men were laughing about her fear. Giovanni's hand on her arm stopped her from doing something stupid. He leaned close, his breath warm against her ear. Not yet. We stick to the plan. The plan takes too long. The plan keeps you both alive. His grip tightened. Lauren, I need you focused. Can you do that? She wanted to say no, wanted to charge up there and kill anyone who touched her sister. But Giovanni was right. Emotion got people killed. She'd learned that in his kitchen, pulling the trigger on 3 men. You had to stay cold, stay smart. I'm focused, she said. They reached the junction. Giovanni pointed up. A ladder, rusted and ancient, leading to a hatch above. He climbed first, tested the hatch, then pushed it open slowly. Light spilled down. Lauren climbed after him, her heart hammering so hard she was sure someone would hear it. The hatch opened into a storage room. Empty crates, old equipment, dust thick enough to taste. Giovanni helped Lauren up, then eased the hatch closed behind them. Voices were clearer now. Men moving around in the next room. The sound of something heavy being dragged across concrete. Giovanni checked his phone, sent a quick text. 30 seconds later, an explosion rocked the building. Shouts erupted, men running, gunfire from outside. That's our cue. Giovanni moved to the door, cracked it open. The hallway beyond was chaos. Men scrambling, grabbing weapons, rushing toward the loading dock, where Michael's team was making their presence known. They slipped out while everyone was distracted, moved through the hallway like ghosts. Giovanni took point, his gun ready, his movements precise. Lauren followed her breath, coming in short gasps, her entire body on high alert. A door on their right. Giovanni kicked it open, gun raised. Empty office. They cleared it and moved on. Another door. This one locked. Giovanni shot the lock, the sound lost in the ongoing firefight echoing through the building. Inside, they found files, computers, evidence of Russo's operations spread across every surface. But no Brittany. She's not here, Lauren said, panic creeping into her voice. She's here. Russo wouldn't risk moving her during an attack. Giovanni scanned the room. There has to be something. Some indication of where he'd keep prisoners. Lauren rifled through the files on the desk. Shipping manifests, payment records, a floor plan of the building with certain rooms marked in red. She grabbed it. Here, basement level. 3 rooms marked for containment. That's it. Giovanni took the plan, studied it. Back to the tunnel. We can access the basement from there. They retraced their steps. Back through the storage room. Back down the hatch into the cold darkness of the tunnel. But this time they weren't alone. A figure stepped out of the shadows, gun raised. Sal Russo himself smiling like he'd won the lottery. Giovanni, he said pleasantly, right on time. And you brought her. How thoughtful. Giovanni shoved Lauren behind him. Let the girl go, Sal. This is between us. Is it because it seems to me that you made it about more than us when you started caring about people again? Russo's gun didn't waver. I've been waiting 15 years for this. Watching you become exactly what you swore you'd never be. Soft, vulnerable, human. You're not walking out of here, Giovanni said quietly. Neither are you, but unlike you, I'm fine with that. Russo's smile widened. See, I don't have anyone left to protect. You took them all. My father, my brothers, my entire family. You left me with nothing but revenge. And revenge doesn't care if it survives the delivery. Lauren saw it before Giovanni did. The detonator in Russo's other hand, the wires running along the tunnel walls, the charges placed at strategic intervals. He's going to blow the tunnel, she said. Russo's eyes flicked to her. Smart girl, too smart to waste on him. But here we are. His finger moved toward the button. Say goodbye, Giovanni. Say goodbye to your... Lauren fired. 3 shots center mass. Russo staggered back, his finger slipping off the detonator. Giovanni fired 2 and Russo went down, but his hand spasmed, hit the detonator anyway. The explosion was deafening. The tunnel collapsed behind them, ahead of them, all around them. Giovanni grabbed Lauren, shielded her body with his as debris rained down. Water rushed in from somewhere. Dust and smoke and chaos. When the rumbling stopped, they were trapped, cut off from both exits, water rising fast. And somewhere above them, Brittany was still locked in a room, waiting to be saved. Are you hurt? Giovanni coughed, pulling back to check her over. No, I'm fine. He looked around, assessing their situation. His jaw tightened. We have maybe 10 minutes before this section floods completely. Then we find another way out. Lauren pointed at the tunnel wall. The building foundation has to have weak points. Old pipes, maintenance shafts, something. They searched frantically, water now, up to their knees. Lauren's hand scraped against concrete feeling for any irregularity. Her fingers found a seam. A panel rusted shut, but definitely there. Here, she called. Giovanni joined her, prying at the panel with the butt of his gun. It gave way with a screech of tortured metal, revealing a narrow shaft leading upward. No ladder this time, just rough handholds and hope. You first, Giovanni said. Together. Lauren grabbed a handhold and pulled herself up. The shaft was barely wide enough for one person. Her shoulders scraped the sides. Her vest caught on something. She kept climbing. Above her light, a grate. She pushed against it. Locked. She pushed harder, throwing all her weight into it. The grate gave way and she tumbled out into a room she didn't recognize. Giovanni came up behind her, breathing hard. They were in a mechanical room. Pipes everywhere, the sound of machinery, and beyond that, the sound of gunfire had stopped. Michael secured the building, Giovanni said, checking his phone. But Russo had a second team. They're holding the basement. That's where Brittany is. I know. Giovanni reloaded his gun. And we're going to get her. But Lauren, I need you to promise me something. What? If this goes wrong, if something happens to me, you run. You get out. You take Brittany and your mother and you disappear. His eyes were intense. Promise me. I'm not going to. Promise me. His hand cupped her face. I can handle dying. What I can't handle is failing you the way I failed Elena. So promise me that if it comes down to it, you'll choose survival over revenge. Lauren's throat tightened. You're not going to die. Promise me. Fine, I promise. The lie tasted bitter. Now can we please go save my sister? They found the basement stairs. 3 bodies lay at the bottom, Russo's men taken out by Michael's team. Blood pooled on the concrete. Lauren stepped over them without flinching. She'd crossed a line tonight, killed people, watched Giovanni nearly die. The girl who'd scrubbed floors and folded towels was gone completely now. The basement hallway was long and narrow, 3 doors just like the floor plan showed. The first one was open, empty. Blood on the walls but no bodies. The second was locked. Giovanni shot it open. More empty space. Storage. The third door was reinforced. Steel. Multiple locks. Giovanni worked on them while Lauren kept watch, her gun trained on the hallway behind them. Every second felt like an hour. Every sound made her jump. Almost got it, Giovanni muttered. The final lock clicked open. He pushed the door and it swung inward. Inside, Brittany sat tied to a chair. Her face bruised, her eyes wide with terror. She saw Lauren and started crying. Oh my God, you're alive. I thought, I'm here. Lauren rushed to her, started working on the ropes. I'm here. You're safe. We're getting you out. There's a bomb, Brittany gasped. They said if anyone tried to rescue me, they'd blow it. Lauren, we have to go. We have to. Giovanni was already searching. Found it in 30 seconds. A device wired to the chair. Timer counting down. 2 minutes, 40 seconds. Can you disarm it? Lauren asked. Not in time. Giovanni's face was grim. We need to move her, chair and all. If we move her, it'll trigger. If we don't, she dies anyway. Giovanni grabbed the chair. On 3, 1, 2. He lifted. The device started beeping. Faster. Faster. Giovanni ran, carrying Brittany still tied to the chair. Lauren ran after them, through the hallway, up the stairs, into the main floor where Michael and his team were securing prisoners. Bomb! Giovanni shouted. Everyone out! They ran, all of them, out of the building, into the street. 20 feet, 30, 40. The explosion lit up the night behind them. The meatpacking plant collapsed in on itself, fire and smoke billowing into the sky. The shockwave knocked Lauren off her feet. She hit the pavement hard, her ears ringing. When the world stopped spinning, Giovanni was there, helping her up, checking her for injuries. And behind him, Michael was cutting Brittany free from the chair. Is she okay? Lauren asked. Bruised, scared, alive. Giovanni pulled Lauren into his arms. You're both alive. Brittany ran to Lauren, threw her arms around her sister, and sobbed. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have doubted you. I should have trusted. Shh, it's okay. We're safe now. Lauren held her tight, breathing in the scent of her shampoo, feeling her sister's heartbeat. Alive. They were both alive. Sirens wailed in the distance. Giovanni's men melted away into the shadows. Within minutes, it was just Giovanni, Lauren, Brittany, and Michael standing in the street watching the building burn. Russo, Michael asked. Dead. Tunnel collapsed on him. Giovanni's voice was flat. It's over. But Lauren knew it wasn't over. This was just the beginning. Russo might be dead, but his organization wasn't. And now everyone in the city knew that Giovanni Moretti would burn everything to protect what was his. They'd made a statement tonight, with blood and fire and bullets, and there would be consequences. Her phone buzzed. A text from a number she didn't recognize. A photo. Her mother safe in a hospital bed at the mansion. Maria sitting beside her, both of them smiling. Below the photo, a message from Giovanni sent hours ago. Your family is safe. Always will be. No matter what happens tonight. Lauren looked at him. At this man who'd ordered violence and orchestrated revenge and somehow still found time to make sure her mother was comfortable. This man who'd nearly died for her sister. This man who'd told her he was falling in love. Take us home, she said. Giovanni nodded, put his arm around her, and they walked away from the burning building toward whatever came next. In the car, Brittany finally spoke. You killed people tonight. Yes. Does it bother you? Lauren thought about it, about the men in the kitchen, about Sal Russo, about the line she'd crossed. It should, but all I feel is glad we're alive. That's messed up. Yeah, Lauren squeezed her sister's hand. Welcome to my life. Brittany was quiet for a moment. Then she said, I want to learn how to protect myself, how to handle a gun, how to survive in this world. She looked at Giovanni. Can you teach me? Giovanni raised an eyebrow. Are you sure? No, but my sister is in this now, which means I'm in this, and I'm not going to be the weak link. Brittany's voice was stronger now, steadier. So teach me. All right, Giovanni smiled slightly. We start tomorrow. They drove through the city as dawn broke. Lauren watched the sun come up over Manhattan, painting the buildings gold and pink. A new day, a new life, a new version of herself she was still learning to recognize. Her phone buzzed one more time. Maria, your mother wants to see you. They'd have to explain everything. The violence, the danger, the choice Lauren had made. Her mother would be horrified. Or maybe she'd understand. Maybe she'd see that sometimes survival means making deals with devils. What are you thinking? Giovanni asked. That nothing will ever be the same. No, it won't. His hand found hers. Regret it. Lauren looked at him. At the man who'd gone to war for her, who'd trusted her enough to bring her into his world, who'd chosen her over safety and strategy and 15 years of careful planning. Ask me again in a year, she said. Giovanni laughed. Fair enough. The mansion came into view. Home now. Lauren's heart twisted at the thought. Home was supposed to be safe, supposed to be simple. This was neither, but it was hers. They pulled up to the front entrance. Maria was waiting, worry etched into her face. She rushed forward as they got out, pulled Lauren into a fierce hug. Dios mío, when I heard the explosion, I thought. She pulled back, looked at Lauren's face. You're different. I know. Good different or bad different. Lauren glanced at Giovanni, at Brittany, at the mansion standing tall behind them, at the life she'd chosen and the price she'd paid for it. I'm still figuring that out, she admitted. Maria nodded slowly. Your mother is awake. She's asking questions, hard questions. I'll talk to her. Lauren took a breath. But first I need to shower, and maybe sleep for a week. You've earned it. Maria touched her cheek gently. All of you. Inside, the damage from the earlier attack was already being repaired. Glass swept up, walls patched, blood cleaned from the floors, like it had never happened. Like violence was just another Tuesday in the Moretti mansion. Maybe it was. Lauren climbed the stairs to her room, stripped off the vest, the blood-stained clothes, the last remnants of who she used to be. In the shower, she watched pink water swirl down the drain and tried not to think about whose blood it was. When she emerged wrapped in a robe, Giovanni was sitting on her bed. He'd cleaned up too, changed clothes, but his eyes were tired, haunted. Elena would have hated you, he said suddenly. Lauren blinked. What? Elena was soft, kind. She saw the best in people. She would have hated what you did tonight, what you've become. Giovanni stood cross to her. But I love it. I love that you're strong enough to survive this world, that you fight back, that you don't break. I'm terrified I'm going to break. Then we'll break together. He pulled her close, and we'll put each other back together after. Deal, deal. He kissed her, then soft and slow and full of promise. When he pulled back, his forehead rested against hers. Get some sleep, he murmured. Tomorrow we start cleaning up the mess. Russo's territory, his assets, his people. It's going to take weeks. And after that we build something new, something better, something worth protecting. His hand cupped her face. With you beside me, if you still want that. Lauren thought about everything she'd lost tonight. Her innocence, her illusions, her belief that staying invisible kept you safe. But she'd gained something too. Power, purpose, a place in the world that was hers by right of survival. I want that, she said. Giovanni smiled, kissed her once more, then left her to sleep. Lauren lay in bed watching the sunrise paint her ceiling in shades of gold. Outside, the city was waking up, going about its day. Unaware that last night a war had been fought and won in its streets. By dawn, every man in the city had feared for his life. But Lauren wasn't afraid anymore. She'd become something else entirely. Something dangerous. Something powerful. Something that belonged to Giovanni Moretti and to herself in equal measure. And God help anyone who tried to take that away from her. Lauren woke to her mother's voice in the hallway, sharp, angry, demanding answers that no one seemed willing to give. She dragged herself out of bed, every muscle screaming. The bruises from the alley had barely faded, and now she had fresh ones. Her ribs ached. Her hands were cut from broken glass, but she got dressed anyway, pulled her hair back, and went to face the inevitable. Her mother sat in a wheelchair in the third-floor sitting room, Maria hovering nervously nearby. The moment she saw Lauren, her eyes went wide. "What happened to your face?" "It's a long story, Mom." "And then start talking." Her mother's voice was steel. "Because I wake up in a mansion I've never seen before with nurses I didn't hire and security guards who won't let me leave. And now you show up looking like you went 10 rounds with a prize fighter." Lauren sat down slowly. "How are you feeling? The dialysis treatments here are better than—" "Don't change the subject." Her mother's hands gripped the wheelchair arms. "I may be sick, but I'm not stupid. Something's happened. Something bad. And you're going to tell me what it is right now." So Lauren told her, not everything. Not the bodies in the kitchen or the tunnel collapse or the way it felt to pull the trigger. But enough. About Giovanni, about the attack, about Brittany's kidnapping, about the choices Lauren had made to keep them all safe. Her mother listened without interrupting. When Lauren finished, silence filled the room like poison. "You've lost your mind," her mother said finally. "You think this man, this criminal, is going to protect you? He's the reason you're in danger in the first place. He's also the reason we can afford your treatments. The reason Brittany doesn't have to drop out of school. The reason we're not drowning anymore." "At what cost?" Her mother's voice cracked. "Lauren, I didn't raise you to be someone's possession, to kill people, to live in fear. You raised me to survive." Lauren leaned forward. "And that's what I'm doing. I'm surviving. We all are. Better than we ever did before. By selling your soul to the devil. By making a choice that keeps this family alive and together." Lauren stood. "I know you don't approve. I know you think I'm making a mistake, but it's my mistake to make." Her mother's eyes filled with tears. "I just got you back. After your father left, after everything fell apart, you held us together. You were the strong one, and now I'm watching you become someone I don't recognize." The words hit harder than any punch. Lauren felt something crack inside her chest. "I'm still me, Mom." "Are you?" "Because the daughter I know wouldn't kill people, wouldn't fall in love with a mobster, wouldn't choose violence over safety. The daughter you know got beat half to death in an alley and had no one to turn to." Lauren's voice broke. "I'm tired of being powerless. I'm tired of being afraid, and if that makes me different, if that makes me someone you can't recognize, then I'm sorry, but I'm not going back." Her mother reached out, grabbed Lauren's hand. "He's going to get you killed. You understand that, don't you? Men like him, they don't get happy endings, and the people who love them don't either. Maybe not, but at least I'll die as someone who mattered, someone who fought back, someone who wasn't invisible." Lauren squeezed her mother's hand. "I need you to trust me. Please." Her mother looked at her for a long moment. Then she pulled Lauren close, held her tight. "I trust you. I don't trust him, but I trust you." It was the best Lauren was going to get. Giovanni found her an hour later in his study, staring at financial reports she didn't fully understand. He closed the door behind him, locked it. "Your mother hates me. She doesn't know you." "She knows enough." Giovanni sat on the edge of the desk. "She knows I've turned her daughter into someone who kills without hesitation. She's not wrong to hate me for that. I made my own choices. Did you or did I manipulate you into them?" Giovanni's voice was quiet. "I've been thinking about that, about how I noticed you, watched you, made you feel seen when you'd been invisible for so long. That's manipulation, Lauren, calculated and deliberate." Lauren set down the reports. "Are you trying to push me away?" "I'm trying to be honest with you about what I am, what I do." He ran a hand through his hair. "Last night, watching you kill those men, watching you go into that tunnel without hesitation, I realized something. I've turned you into a weapon, and I don't know if that's love or selfishness. It's both." Lauren stood close to where he sat. "You see me, you value me, you'd burn the world for me. That's love. But you also shaped me into someone who fits in your world, someone who won't flinch when things get ugly. That's selfishness." She cupped his face. "I can live with both. You shouldn't have to, but I choose to." She kissed him softly. "Stop trying to protect me from yourself. It's too late for that." Giovanni pulled her closer, rested his forehead against hers. "Russo's territory is in chaos. 5 different groups are trying to claim it. We need to move fast if we're going to consolidate control. Then let's move fast. Lauren, you just survived a kidnapping and a building collapse. You should be resting. I should be working. You said I was your logistics coordinator, so let me coordinate. She pulled back, grabbed to the financial reports. Russo had 3 main revenue streams: shipping, construction, and his clubs. The shipping routes are the most valuable. If we secure those first, the rest falls into line. Giovanni's expression shifted, pride mixed with something darker. You've been studying. I'm a fast learner. Lauren pointed at the numbers. But there's a problem. Russo's shipping operation ran through a company called Triton Imports. It's owned by someone named Marcus Chen. He's been silent since Russo died. No contact, no statements, nothing. Because he's waiting to see who comes out on top. Giovanni pulled out his phone. Michael, I need everything we have on Marcus Chen, now. He paused, listening. What do you mean he's here? Lauren's blood went cold. Here where? In the house. He showed up 20 minutes ago asking to speak with me. Giovanni's jaw tightened. How the hell did he get past security? Maybe he didn't have to. Maybe he was invited. Lauren's mind raced. Who else has access to this house? Who else could greenlight a meeting without your approval? Giovanni's face went white. My uncle? Luca. The pieces clicked into place. Luca Moretti, Giovanni's father's brother. The man who'd been running the family's legitimate businesses for years. The man everyone trusted. The man who'd been conspicuously absent during the attack on the mansion. He's the one who backed Russo, Lauren said. He's been trying to take you down from the inside. That's impossible. Luca is family. He wouldn't... Giovanni stopped. Thought. He was at the restaurant the night I introduced you. He saw us together, and the next day Russo went after Brittany. It's not impossible. It's smart. Lauren grabbed her phone, pulled up the shipping manifest she'd been studying. Look at the dates. Russo's weapons shipment came through Triton Imports. But the payment authorization has Luca's signature buried in the paperwork. He's been financing Russo's operations for months. Giovanni was already moving. Where is he? Where's my uncle? Michael's voice came through the phone, tinny and urgent. Boss, we have a problem. Luca just left with Marcus Chen. They took the west exit. We tried to stop them, but what? They had authorization codes. Your father's old codes, the ones that override all security protocols. Giovanni's expression went absolutely cold. Lock down the house. No one in or out, and find them. Now. He grabbed Lauren's hand. You're coming with me. Where? To finish this. They found Luca in the garage getting into a black Mercedes. Marcus Chen sat in the passenger seat, calm as glass. Giovanni pulled his gun, aimed it at his uncle through the windshield. Get out of the car, Luca. Luca smiled, actually smiled. Giovanni, I was hoping we could talk. We're past talking. You funded Russo's attack on my house. You gave him access codes. You tried to have Lauren and her sister killed. Giovanni's voice was ice. Give me one reason why I shouldn't put a bullet in your head right now. Because I'm family. Because your father would have wanted... My father is dead, and he would have killed you himself for this betrayal. Giovanni took a step closer. Get out of the car. Luca got out slowly, hands raised. You've changed, nephew. Your father knew how to balance business and emotion. You've let a woman cloud your judgment. The woman saved my life last night. What have you done for me lately besides try to kill me? Marcus Chen finally spoke. Mr. Moretti, I think there's been a misunderstanding. I came here to offer a partnership. Your uncle assured me you'd be receptive. My uncle doesn't speak for me. Giovanni's gun didn't waver. And you're associated with Russo. That makes you an enemy. Russo is dead. His organization is scattered. I'm simply trying to ensure continuity of operations. Chen's voice was smooth, professional. The shipping routes are valuable. They need protection. I can offer that protection. For a price. I don't need your protection. I need you gone. Giovanni looked at Luca. You thought you could replace me. Thought you could use Russo to take me out, then step in as the reasonable alternative. Bring in new partners, new money. Build something without me. You're paranoid, unstable. Everyone sees it. Luca's mask was slipping. You went to war over a maid. You've exposed this family to unnecessary risk because you can't control your emotions. Father was right about you. Love makes you weak. No, Giovanni's voice was deadly quiet. Love makes me ruthless, because now I have something worth protecting, something worth killing for. You should have remembered that before you came after what's mine. Lauren stepped forward. The shipping routes, the ones Chen controls. They're not just for Russo's operations, are they? They're for human trafficking. That's why Luca needed you gone, because you'd never approve of that business. Luca's silence was confirmation enough. Giovanni's hand tightened on the gun. You've been trafficking people through my family's ports, using our name, our protection, our resources. For what money? For survival. Luca's voice rose. Your father's old ways are dying, Giovanni. The city is changing. We need to adapt or get left behind. Chen offered an opportunity. Real money. Real power. All I needed was you out of the way. So you used Russo as a weapon, told him where to hit, how to hurt me, and when that failed, you came here yourself to finish the job. Giovanni took another step closer. You killed Tony. He was family too. Did you even hesitate? Collateral damage. He was in the way. Wrong answer, Giovanni fired. The bullet hit Luca in the knee. He went down screaming. Marcus Chen didn't move, didn't even flinch. This is a mistake, Mr. Moretti. I have powerful friends, allies who won't take kindly to. Get out of my city. Giovanni turned the gun on him. Take your trafficking operation and your powerful friends and disappear. Because if I see you again, if I even hear your name again, I will take everything from you. Your business, your allies, your life. Do you understand? Chen studied Giovanni for a long moment. Then he smiled slightly. You're nothing like your father. You're right, I'm worse. Giovanni pulled back the hammer. Now leave, before I change my mind about letting you walk out of here. Chen got back in the Mercedes, drove away slowly, deliberately, like he wasn't afraid at all, like this was just business. Lauren knew they'd see him again. Men like that didn't scare easily, but that was a problem for another day. Giovanni stood over his uncle who was clutching his shattered knee and sobbing. Michael, get a doctor, make sure he survives. Then put him on a plane to Sicily. He can live out his days in the old village, explaining to the family how he betrayed his nephew. You're not going to kill me, Luca gasped. Death is easy. Living with the knowledge that you failed, that you lost, that you'll spend the rest of your life in exile while I build an empire here. That's punishment. Giovanni holstered his gun. You taught me that a long time ago. I'm just returning the lesson. Michael appeared with two men. They hauled Luca away, his screams echoing through the garage. Lauren watched him go, feeling nothing. Not pity, not satisfaction, just cold acknowledgement that this was the world now. This was how problems got solved. Are you okay? Giovanni asked. I'm fine. Are you? He was family? Giovanni's voice was hollow. I trusted him, and he tried to kill you, kill Brittany, destroy everything I've built. Family isn't blood. It's who you choose to protect, who chooses to stand with you. Lauren took his hand. He made his choice. You made yours, and I know which one I prefer. Giovanni pulled her close, buried his face in her hair. I don't deserve you. Probably not, but you're stuck with me anyway. They stood there in the garage, holding each other while the sun set outside. Somewhere in the city, Marcus Chen was planning his next move. Somewhere in Sicily, Luca would arrive in disgrace. Somewhere in Brooklyn, the ruins of the meatpacking plant still smoldered. But here in this moment, they had won. The next 3 weeks passed in a blur. Giovanni consolidated Russo's territory. Lauren worked beside him, learning the business from the ground up. Legitimate operations and illegal ones. Money laundering and real estate. Protection rackets and political donations. It was all connected, all flowing through channels Giovanni had spent years building. And Lauren was good at it, better than she'd expected. She saw patterns others missed, found efficiencies no one else had noticed, made suggestions that saved money and time and occasionally lives. You could run this whole operation if you wanted, Giovanni said one night, watching her work through a stack of reports. I don't want to run it. I want to understand it. Lauren looked up from the numbers. There's a difference. Is there? You're the face, the power, the name people fear. I'm the foundation, the person who makes sure everything actually works. She smiled. We're partners. not competitors. Giovanni crossed to her, pulled her into his lap. Partners, I like that. So do I. Lauren kissed him. Though my mother still thinks you're corrupting me. I am corrupting you. Yes, but she doesn't need to know the details. Lauren rested her head against his shoulder. Brittany starts self-defense training next week. She's actually excited about it. She's tougher than she looks. She gets that from me. Lauren closed her eyes. I'm tired, Giovanni. Not physically, just tired of always being on guard, always watching for the next attack, always waiting for something to go wrong. It gets easier. Does it? Or do you just get numb? Giovanni was quiet for a moment. Then he said both. You learn to live with the fear, to function through it, to find moments of peace in the chaos. His hand stroked her hair. Like this, like right now, when it's just us and nothing else matters. Lauren wanted to believe in him, wanted to think that someday this would all feel normal, that she'd stop jumping at shadows, that she'd sleep through the night without nightmares of explosions and gunfire. But she wasn't sure that was possible. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but Giovanni was right there, and she was tired of being afraid. Hello, silence. Then breathing. Then a voice she didn't recognize. Lauren Reed, you've made quite a name for yourself. Who is this? A friend or an enemy? Depends on the next few minutes. The voice was male, older, with an accent she couldn't place. Marcus Chen sends his regards and a message. Lauren's blood went cold. I'm listening. You took something from him. Territory he'd paid for. Operations he'd invested in. He wants them back. The man paused. Or he wants compensation. Your choice. Tell Chen to go to hell. Bold words for someone who's made a lot of enemies very quickly. How's your mother, by the way? Still receiving dialysis 3 times a week. Such a vulnerable situation. So many things that could go wrong with medical equipment. Giovanni heard the threat in Lauren's silence. He grabbed the phone, put it on speaker. This is Giovanni Moretti. You just threatened my family. That was a mistake. Was it because from where I'm standing, you're spread thin? Russo's territory isn't stable yet. Your uncle's betrayal cost you allies, and Chen has resources you don't even know about. The voice laughed. You're vulnerable, Mr. Moretti, and vulnerabilities get exploited. The line went dead. Giovanni immediately made 3 calls. More security on Lauren's mother, a full sweep of the hospital equipment for tampering, extra guards on Brittany at Columbia. Within 10 minutes, every person Lauren cared about was under armed protection. This doesn't end, does it? Lauren asked. We take down Russo and Chen appears. We'll take down Chen and someone else will show up. It's an endless cycle. Yes. Giovanni didn't sugarcoat it. This is the life. There's always another threat, another challenge, another person who thinks they can take what's yours. Then how do you survive it? By being smarter, faster, more ruthless than everyone else. Giovanni pulled her close. And by having someone who watches your back, someone you trust absolutely, someone who won't hesitate when things get ugly. Is that what I am to you? Someone who won't hesitate. You're everything to me. The fact that you won't hesitate is just a bonus. He kissed her forehead. We're going to deal with Chen permanently, but I need to know you're with me all the way. No second guessing, no backing out when it gets dark. Lauren thought about the alley, about the kitchen, about the tunnel and the explosion, and every moment since that had brought her here. She thought about her mother's fear and Brittany's tears and the price this life demanded. Then she thought about being invisible, about being powerless, about going back to a world where she didn't matter. I'm with you, she said, all the way. Giovanni's smile was sharp and dangerous and full of promise. Good, because we're going hunting. They spent the next week gathering information. Chen's operations, his associates, his weaknesses. Lauren coordinated with Michael's team, tracked shipping manifests, followed money trails. She found connections no one else had seen, patterns in the chaos. He's not just trafficking people, she told Giovanni one night, spreading documents across his desk. He's trafficking information, corporate espionage, using the same routes for both. That's why his operation is so valuable. It's not just one business, it's a whole network. Can we disrupt it? We can destroy it. Lauren pointed to specific transactions. His entire system depends on 3 key ports. We take those out and everything collapses. He loses his trafficking routes and his information pipeline in one move. Taking out ports means going after the officials he's bought, the inspectors, the security. That's a lot of people. So we don't go after them. We go after the people who pay them. Lauren pulled up another file. Chen works for someone, multiple someones. Corporations who need sensitive information move quietly. We expose them, the whole operation falls apart. Giovanni looked at her with something close to awe. You've been planning this for a week. I'm tired of reacting. I'd rather attack. Lauren met his eyes. Is that wrong? No, that's perfect. He pulled her close. You're perfect. They executed the plan 2 days later. Simultaneous leaks to 3 different newspapers. Evidence of corporate espionage. Names, dates, transactions. By morning, Chen's biggest clients were scrambling to cover their tracks. By afternoon, federal investigators were asking questions. By evening, Marcus Chen's entire operation was burning down around him. And when Chen himself finally called, his voice was tight with barely controlled rage. You've made a powerful enemy, Ms. Reed. Good. I was getting bored with weak ones. Lauren's voice was ice. Stay away from my family. Stay away from this city. Or next time I won't settle for destroying your business. I'll destroy you. She hung up before he could respond. Giovanni kissed her hard. That was incredibly attractive. That was incredibly stupid. I just painted an even bigger target on my back. True, but you also showed every other player in this city that you're not someone to underestimate. Giovanni's hands framed her face. You're not just my partner anymore, Lauren. You're a power player in your own right. People are going to fear you, respect you, try to kill you. I'm already used to that last one. Then we're going to be fine. He rested his forehead against hers. We're going to build something here. Something that lasts, something that matters, and anyone who tries to stop us will regret it. Lauren believed him, not because she was naive, not because she thought this life would ever be easy or safe or simple, but because she'd chosen it. Every step of the way, she'd chosen this path, this man, this dangerous, violent, impossible life, and she'd never felt more alive. 3 months after the night in the alley, Lauren stood in Giovanni's office, watching the sun set over Manhattan. Her mother was downstairs, healthy enough now to move around without the wheelchair. Brittany was at Columbia, top of her class with security she'd learned to appreciate rather than resent. Maria was in the kitchen cooking something that smelled like home, and Giovanni was beside her, his hand in hers, solid and real and hers. Do you ever regret it? He asked quietly. Staying here, choosing this. Lauren thought about it, really thought about everything she'd lost and everything she'd gained, about the girl who'd folded towels and the woman who'd pulled triggers, about invisibility and power and the price of both. Every day, she admitted, and not at all. Both things are true at the same time. I can live with that answer. Good, because it's the only one I have. She turned to face him. I love you. I shouldn't. It's probably the worst decision I've ever made, but I love you anyway. Giovanni's eyes softened. I love you too. Have since you started rearranging my books. Probably before that. He pulled her close. And I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure you never regret choosing me. That's a long time. Yes, it is. He kissed her slow and deep and full of promise. Think you can handle it? Lauren smiled against his lips. Ask me again in 50 years. Outside, the city hummed with life and danger and possibility. Somewhere out there, Marcus Chen was licking his wounds and planning revenge. Somewhere out there, Luca was living in exile, bitter and broken. Somewhere out there, the next threat was gathering strength. But here in this moment, Lauren Reed was exactly where she chose to be. Not invisible, not powerless, not afraid. She was the woman who'd asked, "Who did this to you?" and watched a mafia boss go to war in her name. She was the woman who'd killed without hesitation to protect her family. She was the woman who had chosen love and danger and power over safety and obscurity. And by dawn, everyone in the city knew her name. Everyone feared what she'd become, and everyone understood that Lauren Reed belonged to Giovanni Moretti, and Giovanni Moretti belonged to her, and together they were unstoppable. This was her life now. Dangerous, violent, impossible, and entirely, completely, absolutely hers.